There is a primary concept behind the process of jazz improvisation. One musical principle, when used consciously, will open the door for you to create a lifetime of beautiful, original lines and melodies. This concept is as dependable and central a concept as E equals MC squared. It's the musical equivalent of E equals MC squared. Tonight I'm going to explain and demonstrate this improv concept to you in the interest of helping you to realize your musical dreams and attain the ability to tap into the endless flow of music within you. This concept can also be applied to all forms of improvised music, whether you're playing blues, rock, world music, klezmer, Viking metal, or bluegrass. This concept will give you a structured approach for success. The primary concept for linear improvisation is, drum roll please, flow, phrase, breathe. Flow, phrase, breathe. This three-part concept can open the doors to a lifetime of musical creativity. Infinite lines will flow through your fingertips. It's great, and it's available to every musician. Everyone can learn to improvise. It's a natural human ability. Let's take each part of this concept and I'll demonstrate it as we go. The first part of our concept is flow. Whether you're an athlete, a business person, a musician, or a dentist, the key to success is to tap into your sense of flow. Being in the flow implies that there's a greater principle at work in your creative efforts than just you. Mysterious abilities and unexpected discoveries will appear within you as you create in your flow zone. For improvising jazz, the flow we want to feel is the flow of swing eighth notes. The flow of swing eighth notes, often groups in groups of four with a slight accent on the first of the group of four, is the backbone to the improvised line. I'll repeat that. The flow of swing eighth notes, often grouped in groups of four with a slight accent on the first of the group of four, is the backbone to the improvised line. 70% or more of all the great lines improvised by the great historic figures in jazz are based in this swing eighth flow. It's the primary pulse of jazz. I'll demonstrate the primary swing eighth line feel for you now over the changes of Autumn Leaves. If you intentionally tap into this rhythmic flow before and as you improvise, it will feel right and you'll be on your way. Okay, first we'll demonstrate the basic eighth note flow on Autumn Leaves. So before you play, you can actually kind of zone into that place where it's like this. Boo, ga do, ga zee, ga do, ga do, ga do, ga zee, ga do. That's the eighth note flow. Ah, ga zoo, ga zee, ga. This is the primary flow of the improvising line. It's not the only flow, but it's the primary backbone. So I'll just demonstrate this flow for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's important and it's helpful to think that we're grouping the eighth notes in group of four with a slight accent on the first of the four. And we have a little phrase that helps us with this, which is slice of pizza. So if you actually say slice of pizza as you're improvising with that little natural accent on slice, it's going to have that perfect improv feel. I'm sorry, but it works. Watch. Slice of pizza, slice of pizza, slice of pizza, slice of pizza pie at the end. Slice of pizza pie, everybody. Slice of pizza, slice of pizza. Accents on the first of the four. You can change this later, but this is a primary feel. Slice of pizza, slice of pizza, slice of pizza pie. It works. Slice of pizza, slice of pizza, slice of pizza, slice of pizza pie. That's the basic eighth note flow. Okay. The second part of our basic improv concept is phrase. Once you generate the eighth note flow, it has to end somewhere. We can define a short improvised line to be a line of 1 to 2 measures of eighth note flow without a break. A medium length line is 2 to 4 measures of eighth note flow, and a long line is generally considered to be 4 or more measures of a continuous eighth note flow. The most important thing is to end your line often with a held note, and you always want to get a certain feeling when you end that phrase. The feeling you want to get is that you have just created a complete musical statement or a complete musical sentence. So far we have our flow of swing eighth notes, and then you're going to end and generally hold the last note. Sometimes you can staccato it, but most of the time, or a lot of the time, you can hold that last note. And you want to feel at that point when you hold the note that I have just created a complete musical sentence. It could be of any length. Just like in language, you can say a short sentence or a long sentence as long as it makes sense. In music, we can use improvisation. We can use short lines, medium lines, or long lines as long as it's a complete melody and a complete sentence when you're finished. I'll demonstrate some lines of different lengths over autumn leaves, and I'll talk you through the process. First, we flow intentionally using the swing eighth note feel. Then we end our line in such a way as to feel we have just created what? A complete musical sentence. Now we're going to come to making a phrase, the second part, flow, phrase, breathe. The phrase is the end of the phrase, the end of the line. We want to generally hold the note. And we want to hold that note, and we want to always feel at the end of the phrase that we've just completed a complete sentence. It has a certain feel to it. So, for example, this would not be a complete sentence. But this would be more of a complete sentence. I hold that last note. See? The holding of the last note will give you that feeling of completion. Sometimes you can do a staccato or a vibrato, whatever you like on the last note. But a lot of times people automatically staccato the last note, where if you hold it, it will give you more of that feeling of completion. Here's a short phrase. Hold. Mistakes are allowed. Always remember, mistakes are allowed. A little bit longer phrase. In the eighth note flow, hold the last note at the end. Wait. Little triplet in there. Okay. Now, if we do a very long phrase, it's still the same thing. We're still creating a melody, and it should still feel melodic from the beginning to the end. It's just a longer melodic journey. And then I hold at the end. 4 or more measures. Hold. Okay, let's get into the last part of our concept. Once you get your line flowing and phrase it or end it, we want to breathe. The breath after a complete improvised line is like the frame around a picture. It helps to define the creative space. The key to the correct breathing after the line is to listen to the ring of the last note of your phrase and allow the ring of the last note to tell you when to begin your next phrase. If you listen to the ring of your last note, you will intuitively know how long the ring or the breath at the end of your phrase should be. Allow the last note of the phrase to ring as long as it wants to. Often we go too quickly on to the next phrase, where it's better to create the complete phrase, hold the note at the end, and listen to that ring, and the ring will tell you when to start the next phrase. After the right amount of breathing or ringing, you'll get a clear signal to begin the next line. This will work. I'll now demonstrate the complete flow, phrase, breathe concept over autumn leaves. The lengths of the improvised lines, as well as the lengths of the breathing, will vary, but it will all become quickly obvious to you if you create your music with the flow, phrase, breathe concept. Last part of our concept is to listen to the ring of the last note and just let that last note ring as long as it wants to. And the last note, if you listen to the ring, it's going to tell you exactly how long to ring. And then you'll get a signal, boom, start the next phrase. It's intuitive and it works every time. Watch. So let's do some short phrases and I'll show you how we go from one to another. I listen to the ring, not yet, now. Listen, not yet, now. Short phrase, hold, listen to the ring. Ring at the end, I listen to the ring. The ring will tell me when to start the next phrase. Now. Now. Hold, I'll maybe hold this one longer. Now. Maybe medium length. Hold, listen, not yet, now. Hold, not yet, now. Hold, listen. Good, we'll do one more chorus. I'll talk you through it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Flow. Phrase, breathe. Flow. Phrase, breathe, hold, flow. Hold, let it ring, flow. I'm getting a signal to play a longer line. Hold. Let it ring. Listen to the ring. Flow. Hold. Short. Short. Okay. Flow, phrase, breathe. One good exercise to help incorporate the flow, phrase, breathe into your playing is to set a timer for 6 minutes and then improvise only short phrases for that time. Then try 6 minutes of medium length phrases. And finally, 6 minutes of long phrases. Then try combining the different phrase lengths freely. As you breathe at the end of your phrase, a little man in your head will tell you how long the next line should be. It's crazy how it works. It will work every time. Flow, phrase, breathe, listen to the ring of the last note, and you'll know when to start the next one and how long to make it. Successfully playing with this concept is based obviously on some prior knowledge and experience with the basics of jazz theory and technique. You may find out more about the necessary foundation for this flow, phrase, breathe principle in my series, Beginning Jazz Improvisation, parts 1 to 4 on YouTube. It's been my experience that many, if not most, aspiring improvisers have some understanding of the jazz basics. Using the flow, phrase, breathe concept can help you make music out of the theory and technique that you currently possess and open the door to an infinite flow of unique improvised lines. I'd like to thank my great teachers, John LaRosa, Lenny Tristano, and Charlie Banakis, for their patience and guidance. I'd like to thank my filmmaker and creative partner, Rick Steinberger at Infusion, for his invaluable help in producing this and other videos. If this kind of thing tickles your ivories, I invite you to check out the Masterclass archive at www.davefrankjazz.com for 50 in-depth jazz classes, all free for thee. You can watch them in your feety pajamas if you like. I really enjoyed the process of making these first 50 videos for you. I've enjoyed getting to know some of you out there from your emails and through other exchanges, and I invite you to write to me anytime if there's any questions about any of the stuff I'm putting out. For questions, comments, complaints, or tomatoes, you can contact me directly at dave@davefrankjazz.com. Blessings, and keep swinging from New York City!